YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back after not the most entertaining Thursday night football game, but any kind of football is entertaining here. So we were kind of due for one of those games because what the craziness that's been happening last week, the Giants and football team. But we kind of expect this with the injuries of the Texans, but the Panthers unfortunately suffered some injuries as well. We'll talk about everything that happened within this game, recap, takeaways, which players, units, and coaches I liked, who I didn't like, what to expect going forward. We do this every single Friday. For the Sunday slate of games, we do a recap every Monday. We got weekly power rankings, game predictions, score predictions. We got you. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow our Twitter. Download the BetQL app. And check out our Patreon. There's a link in the description, comments for most of these things that you need here. So check it out. Here's our Twitter. That's how you join the Picks League. We're also talking through live games, all my thoughts, anything you're looking for is on that Twitter. Make sure you follow it. Trying to reach 10K. Appreciate everyone's support. So the Panthers and the Texans, 24-9. Panthers win. They are 3-0, so it's a great start. I didn't remember. I keep saying I got to go back and pull that clip, maybe for Twitter. I think it was the preseason power rankings. I said that I could see the Panthers starting a 3-0 team somewhere around there. Will they keep it up? I like what they got coming up. They got a couple tough teams, but winnable games for them. Cowboys, Eagles, Vikings. Those are tougher games, which they want. You want to be tested throughout the regular season a little bit to prepare for the playoffs. Right now, the Panthers 3-0 feel like a way too early playoff team. But those are winnable games. So I really like those slate of games coming up for the Panthers. I'm excited about those. See if they're the real deal here. But yeah, this is a weird game because 24-9. Okay, so by the score, Panthers won easy, right? Easy win, big win. Yeah, there's different ways you can look at it. The Texans were kind of in the game. If they would have executed on some strip sacks, if they would actually fell on the ball, it could have been a whole different game. So maybe it was, and they kind of held it tight for a lot of this game. So looking at that, maybe it was closer in the score. But given the Texans really they just couldn't move the ball. Even if they fell on the balls in those moments, would that have changed much because they couldn't get anything going on offense and the Panthers were getting going on defense. So the Texans' inability to move the ball the score does kind of make sense looking at it that way. A big win, I should say, for the Panthers. But yeah, the Texans were very much in this game at one point, at the first half, end of the first half. And it could have been tied if it was a made extra point. Not that the extra point really came down to being a big factor here, but my point is they were very close, and they could have been leading if they fell on those two strip sacks or one of them. That was really the only knock on Darnold. Overall, a good game for him, but he still has that turnover potential, I suppose. And it's one thing if you got it because his offensive line was struggling a bit. Very early, first quarter, I thought it was playing great. I thought it was actually playing great in the first quarter. And they started playing a little better in the fourth quarter as well. But, they weren't really dropping back, having them sit in the pocket a lot, so it should be playing a lot better. But in the middle, their second and third quarter, mainly the second, especially towards halftime, pretty terrible offensive line. But, one thing if Darnold got hit from his blind side on those strip sacks, but kind of the spot where he should see them, and he didn't see them. So that is a little bit of a, you worry, is that going to happen again, or is the other team going to fall on the ball? So that's really the only knock on Darnold overall. He played a very solid game, pretty accurate with the ball, made some throws on the run, used his legs. Love seeing that. He looks like he can move. He looks like he's getting faster somehow. We saw some moments with the Jets. But yeah, like I said, the Texans, could have been in this game. Just couldn't really get things going on offense. But the defense overall was pretty solid. For the most part, they were asked a lot. They had to do a lot in this game. But yeah, kind of the main takeaway, what I'm most impressed with is the Panthers, overall the coaching staff of the Panthers, all the way down. You start at the top, Matt Rule, Joe Brady mainly, and Phil Snow, the defensive coordinator, just play calling in general, not just offensively, but that's kind of my main takeaway is Joe Brady and his system and his play calling. It's kind of what we expected going into last year. Like, wow, this is where the league is heading. Get a couple college coaches that have NFL backgrounds at the same time, looking at Rule and Joe Brady. Rule was with the Giants for a bit. Joe Brady was with the Saints, but then they dominated the college level. This is exactly what the NFL needs. It's exactly what a young team like this heading in the right direction needs. So we expected that last year, and it kind of looked good at times early. And then I for some reason, I remember that Falcons Thursday night game. There was a lot of rain in that game, so that was kind of the excuse. The play calling and just the lack of going for explosive plays or trying to dial up something big was concerning, and that kind of continued the rest of the year. So I'm like, I was so hyped in this coaching staff, a little underwhelming the rest of the year. It's only year one, though, and so far it's looked excellent, and then going back to the Joe Brady system, the playbook. Look at this playbook. This was kind of reminds me of the Bills last year. I'm not going to compare the Bills and the Panthers, but in terms of, I kept saying what I loved about the Bills last year is their playbook was, how do you say it? It's so big. It's a big, but so wide. There's an unlimited amount of plays in the playbook. That's what it feels like when I watch the Panthers. It's just it's a multiple system. What LSU ran. That's why LSU. With Joe Brady was so good. They threw everything at you like it's pro style. No, it's a college style offense looking like spread looks here. No, wait, it's pro style. It's multiple offense. And I mean, multiple is the perfect word for it because, you got every type of concept here, every type of look. There's teams that, they're under center a lot most of the game, and they'll throw some they'll run shotgun here and there. There's teams those types of teams usually want to run the ball first. They'll try to go for the play action pass. If that doesn't work, they're pretty much screwed. You got teams that are, in shotgun most of the game, spread offense like the Cardinals. They're throwing on every play. And then you got teams that, they're going to run a lot of RPO. They're going to run read option. They want to run the quarterback. All of the above so far for the Panthers. Like, they're throwing all this, they got multiple receivers out there that, all of them are a threat. They can, they're going to throw the ball. Another thing, too, Darnold, what I like about Darnold is he was extending the ball in this game, too. I'm kind of getting sidetracked, but that kind of went into it. Getting the ball downfield, you kind of worry the last couple of games, like, it's kind of been a dink and dunk offense. Let's see him kind of do a little more, and he did that, I thought, so that was good. But again, every part of the offense, they're doing kind of everything. There's anything you can think of is part of that offense, and why is that great? Because you're throwing the defense off. The defense is a guessing game overall. You're trying to guess what's about to come to you here. So, and it's Joe Brady and company kind of making it impossible. They're running all these plays. See a little bit of RPO looks, read option, shotgun, under center, but then all of a sudden they throw like a play action and hit DJ Moore downfield. It's like, where the hell did that come from? Like, you just got to be prepared for everything. And it goes on the defensive side thing too, because there's so many different unique looks where they're aligning guys. And that's why I listed Shaq Thompson and Assan Reddick. Those are kind of the key guys, and they had monster games too. Those are kind of the key guys because Reddick, he can line up pretty much everywhere. He's experienced as an off-the-ball linebacker and as a pass rusher. He's been very good as a pass rusher. Sometimes he'll kind of stunt inside, and that's where he's productive as well. And Shaq Thompson is an off-the-ball linebacker, can be very solid in coverage, but they'll blitz him. They'll line him off, blitz him in the inside, but they'll line him up off the edge sometimes, and you don't know if he's coming or dropping back because you do have to worry about his sneaky coverage ability. So those are kind of the keys. Last year I thought, and Jeremy Chin moves around a bit too, and last year I think it was more of Jeremy Chin moving around a bit, which was kind of the pre-snap adjustments for the quarterbacks. I'm thinking it's more of these guys who are putting up monster numbers at the same time. But then you throw in Morgan Fox, who's playing outstanding. They got him from the Rams. Brian Burns, you guys know I love Brian Burns. He's very productive, and he'll continue to be productive. He's a very solid young player. But yeah, those are kind of the two guys that are kind of the key to that defense and the key to the pre-snap adjustments. So they really stood out, but that defense is good. A bunch of young guys that fly around the football field. They're fast. It's kind of where the league's heading. Offenses are getting better and better because they're faster. They're way faster. The quarterbacks are way more athletic. They want that big, deep ball play, which you need speed to cover. And there's a lot of college concepts coming over to the NFL. So the young, fast defense, that happens to be coached by a former college defense coordinator, which was very recent, is definitely, it makes sense that it's winning. It's succeeding. It makes a lot of sense here. So, yeah, really, I talked about it before this week. I think power rankings or recap video. I'm loving this Panthers defense. Absolutely loving it. DJ Moore was outstanding. That's kind of the problem, though. He was kind of the only, they got Tommy Tremble going. I love to see that. DJ Moore was it's kind of like the good and bad. He's really the only receiver getting making big plays, the only one getting big separation. So it's great for DJ Moore, and it's great that you scored 24 points, with only that guy succeeding. But you do want the other guys to get going too, which I'm not really worried. They're good players. I'm surprised the lack of Robbie Anderson right now. I think that's kind of odd. We saw a big home run play in week 1 against the Jets, and I was like, that kind of was like, yeah, that makes sense, but where is that, So it's not really something to worry about because he's a very talented player, and the Panthers are winning right now, and they're having success, so I'm not really worried about that. It's just something kind of like we're wondering. But yeah, DJ Moore had such a great game. Texans in a lot of zone coverage. DJ Moore just playing with them. He's just finding gaps in the zones. That's what you got to do. And that it's actually a big problem for young receivers. That why sometimes they end up bust. It's either because they're not a very good route runner, but it's more than just the footwork, because there's multiple routes you obviously can run on any given play, and it's more of reading the coverage. If it's zone coverage, figuring out where to sit in the zone coverage, changing your route, adjusting your route. That's mainly why receivers end up bust. And the ones that could to just know that without any hesitation, it just comes natural, or really just the ones that end up the best receivers in football. And DJ Moore, proven that, he understands it. And it's the same thing for Brandon Cooks on the other side, who's been proven already, but he was doing the same thing. He was getting open all night, actually, against a tough defense. And Davis Mills was hitting him overall. Missed him a couple times, didn't see him a couple times. So Brandon Cooks really had a monster game. Yeah, he was definitely finding open holes in the coverages. So similar games from DJ Moore, Brandon Cooks. You're going to notice DJ Moore a bit more there, obviously. But yeah, monster game. He had an injury, came back in, so a little bit of a scare, but it didn't look that major anyways. Came back in. That's good to see. Offensive line, I kind of talked about it, that they were good in the first quarter, buying Darnold some time. The pocket was pretty clear, and they kind of left the outside the pocket open as well, so we can kind of get outside and make that easier throw. Second quarter was terrible, and I thought most of the third quarter was pretty terrible as well, and picked it back up in the fourth quarter. On paper, the Panthers' offensive line looks pretty bad. Honestly, I thought it'd be worse than it is right now, even though it hasn't been good, just because it looks like the worst offensive line on paper. But it's basically, it's not that surprising, that they're struggling a little bit. Darnold's doing a pretty good job under pressure. Just sometimes, he's got to see the pressure a little better, and he does lose the ball a little bit. But overall, we talk about Darnold. Great game, using his legs, throwing on the run. And I felt like he's adjusting the pressure. Like, okay, I'm going to get hit here. Let's make sure to get the ball out. Finding DJ Moore. He wasn't seeing ghosts. He's seeing his open receivers. That's great. Injuries is pretty brutal, though. Christian McCaffrey just can't really stay healthy at the moment. He had a hamstring strain, it sounds like. There was no official word on how severe it is. There's different grades of hamstring strains. So we're waiting on that. I'm actually dealing with the hamstring strain myself right now. I'm not built like Christian McCaffrey, unfortunately, so I can't really say when he can come back, but very tricky injury, and we've seen it in the past in the NFL for players too. It's tricky because you don't even know you're hurt until you start sprinting or jumping or lifting. You don't know you're hurt until you do that. So really the only fix, it's not like an ankle you can tape up and play through and kind of go through some treatment after, nothing like that. It's just rest is the only fix. And with mine, I actually took out like 3 weeks of, playing pickup basketball, things like that. And I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good, come back, and I pull it again. So it's kind of one of those things where if you come back too early, and again, I don't have an NFL training staff, and I'm not Christian McCaffrey, so I think he could come back way earlier. But, it's one of those things where you come back too early, it's just kind of a bad thing. So, again, one of those things where I can see him missing 0 time or a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If he comes back too early, it could send him back to 4 weeks. It's like one of those weird things. We've seen it in the past. So, hoping for the best there. And then J.C. Horn gets hurt, and that does not look good. Broken foot, multiple bones in his foot, which we knew it was something down there just based on the trainer was grabbing the ankle or foot. But I did not expect multiple bones broken in the foot from a non-contact injury. That's pretty damn rare. Now that I'm thinking about it. Multiple broken bones in the foot, not the ankle. Like, you can roll your ankle on the turf on non-contact, but unless they're saying what happened, they're saying it wrong, but I don't think so. So that's odd. It's very odd. So he's going to miss either the rest of the season or majority of the season. More word on that probably coming later today. We have you updated on Twitter on all these things. Burrs get hurt as well. So, yeah, that's not good for the Panthers. But they still got talent. And I think the coaching staff is getting the most out of their talent. That's the key there. You have the Texans. I love the way Ross Blacklock played. I was high on him out of TCU. Was underwhelming last year, but I don't think that he was used right. Lovie Smith is using him right. They're moving around a bit. I like him at nose tackle on passing downs. I mean, That's a guy that can get interior pressure on passing downs, having a nose tackle. He's just too quick and has just too good of moves for a center, or even if a guard ends up on him. So he looks pretty promising. He looks like he's getting there. So I love to see that. Pass rush in general, it wasn't great. Like, oh my God, what a pass rush. But it was pretty damn good. But for the Texans, you don't expect the Texans pass rush to be this good as a unit. Looking at it on paper, it's a lot better than expected. Kristen Kirksey through these first few weeks has been all over the place, very, very solid. He's talented. We knew he's talented. The question is him staying healthy, and so far he's staying healthy. Knock on wood if you're with me here, but that's kind of been the storyline there. Like, he's talented, he's just got to stay healthy. The Packers picked him up for a reason. It was like, yes, the Packers finally got a good linebacker. Can't really stay healthy, so it's a problem. We talked about Brandon Cooks when I was talking about DJ Moore. Very similar games in general, like to just the type of games, but in this game, I thought some similar strengths there. Brandon Cooks could have had a bigger day. He could have had a better day if the quarterback could hit him a little better, or if it wasn't for the coaching play calling. Davis Mills really wasn't all that bad. The negative plays came when he was under pressure, or where it was kind of a one-read play call where he was forced to do something, which really isn't on him fully. You don't expect a rookie to go to the second or third. Well, actually, we did see him do that a couple times. There was a couple big plays, I think, including the touchdown. He went to maybe his second or third option. So that's a good sign as well. I don't think he played terrible. He just definitely needed to do more. But I put a lot in the coaching play calling, which I think has been actually way better than expected through 2 weeks, even in the loss to the Browns. This game, not so much. It just felt like a no-trust type of game plan, which I guess you want to take it easy with the rookie quarterback, and maybe you thought you can win the game on defense, which I guess somewhat understand. You got to have some offense, But, the too many second and long runs. There's a lot of teams that do that. I hate it. But, there was times where it was first down run, second down run, and you just put your quarterback in a brutal – not even with the first down one, just look at like a second and long run. You're playing for third down and not so long, but still kind of long. End up being 3rd and 8, sometimes 3rd and 10 still. And it's just harder for a quarterback because, again, I always talk about defense as a guessing game. If it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, even if it's 3rd and 7, even if it's 3rd and 6, no more guessing game. We know they're passing. We don't have to worry about stop and run, filling lanes. We can blitz, pass blitz. We know what to do here, and it just makes it so tough on the quarterback. So I thought Davis Mills was put in pretty tough situation. The game plan almost contradicted itself a little bit. Like, it almost reversed effects of what they wanted. They wanted to take it easy on him. They wanted to run the ball. Don't have him throw it a million times. Don't let him get killed back there. Throw little dink and dunk passes. Have the first reads be the layup reads. And by doing that, that idea, you want to make it easier for the quarterback, but it really doesn't, because you put him in, like I just said, those 3rd and long situations where the whole planet knows that he's passing, and there's going to be a pass rush, and guys are going to be probably covered for the most part, and he's got to try to go down through his progressions, try to escape out of the pocket and get to his 3rd read somehow. It's just, you kind of put in a tough situation. There's actually a lot of talented teams that do that to their quarterback out there, and it's kind of what's holding them back. And that's why play calling and offensive system game plan is maybe the biggest thing, like right there with quarterback, because it is holding some good teams back, and that's why the Panthers had some success, a lot of success. Sam Darnold has not had success in his career, but now with this system, play calling, the playbook, everything about it, we talked about at the very beginning here. It's a big reason why it's helping this team. So, and now we're at that point where, just can you kind of keep it creative? Can you keep it going? Because more and more film comes out. Do teams start to prepare a little better for you? We saw that for the Panthers last year. It does feel different this year. It feels like there's more to their offense. But again, I talked about in the beginning too. I love the next 3 games they have coming up because it's a little more of a challenge to kind of prepare them for the long run, because this looks like a good team. So they're winnable games. They're winnable games for each side. Panthers, Cowboys next week. So I'm really excited for looking forward to that. I guess the big debate for the Texans is if Tyrod Taylor didn't get hurt, would they be still 1-2? Would they be 2-1? Would they be 3-0? You probably can debate any of those. Probably less people debating the 3-0, but you probably can debate any of those. But I will say this: I was thinking about it during the game. Deshaun Watson is their quarterback. If Deshaun Watson was in there, my money's on 3-0. My money's on 3-0. So, makes you a little more unhappy about what Deshaun Watson's doing to the team if you're a fan, maybe. But that shows that the team's it actually somehow feels better than last year. It does. So. Yeah, we'll see. They missed another thing. They missed Justin Reed. They missed quite a few guys, the Texans. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor, they missed him a lot. But looking at, the non-obvious, which should be obvious, Justin Reed, they missed him big time. DJ Moore kind of getting open in that area of the field. And Justin Reed's been playing. He had a fantastic week last week. They missed Justin Reed big time in this game. And they played overall, played pretty decent on defense, too. So if they had Justin Reed, they could actually play a bit better there. So that was another thing I forgot to mention. But, yeah, that wraps up the recap for Thursday night game week 3. We got a bunch of Sunday games still. We'll recap that on Monday. Can't wait for week 3's action. And then the week 4 content starts next week. So we got you every single week, even in the offseason here. So like, subscribe, turn notifications on, follow our Twitter, link down below. It's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.